everyone, juxtaposition here. Today's video will be entitled Drone Warfare, Terra Swarm. I was looking for some good drone warfare music and I despised everything that I found. So I pivoted to The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. One of the soundtrack items that you just heard was the Immigrant Song, because drone warfare and Terra Swarm are going to make all of us immigrants in our own countries, our own Hunger Games, our own strategic hamlets. And want to give a big tip of the hat to Stan for doing some serious sleuthing. He truly should be a member of our Star Chamber. Stan took the ball and ran with it after I posted a video regarding Eagle Mountain Ghost Town, which is turned into a drone training center for military operatives for NATO. It's kind of what they're using the former Henry J. Kaiser mining town and the Southern Pacific Railroad depot town and the solar farm area of Joshua Tree National Park, turning it into an international drone warfare urban assault training facility where keyboard commandos from throughout the world can log on, given a security code, and practice urban warfare using the 400 residential homes constructed by Kaiser Steel when they put in 4,000 people into a secured hamlet off of Kaiser Road. Kaiser Road also goes by a military acronym of R2. R2 Road? R2 Road. I have a lot of notes that I'll be referring to today. Also, if you're having problems with the audio, just hit audio only icon to the left of your screen. You know, you can turn off the video and just listen. You'll see that Substack's glitch is cleared up when you go audio only. All right, so another helpful reminder for those folks out there that know technology better than I do. All right, so what I wanted to tell you is Stan did some sleuthing, so I think we'll just start with Stan, and then we're going to transition into the Predator drone, which has been upgraded and renamed as the Reaper drone, and General Atomics, who makes the Reaper drone and tests it in the desert between Victorville and Palmdale, and in some places that I've been by, El Mirage. I've been by El Mirage, and I had no idea that they had a drone training and research facility there. It's in the middle of absolutely nothing. It does get to be brutally hot in the summer out there in the desert. There's not a blade of grass to be found anywhere out there. So anyway, let me just read to you what Stan wrote me after he did see my video number 1 that is entitled Eagle Mountain Ghost Town, Joshua Tree Park, So here's what Stan wrote me. He said he did a little sleuthing and he discovered that Eagle Mountain site has recently been converted to a drone first responder training and testing ground. They're training the artificial intelligence to work with drone swarms for policing and security patrols in the near future. In other words, mind control, predictive programming, and drone policing. And you can bet that if they test it out there at Joshua Tree National Park at Eagle Mountain, it'll end up in Manhattan, New York, Queens, the Bronx, Staten Island, Yonkers, Untermeyer Park, Golden Gate Park, Central Park, Griffith Park, and anywhere in the world that has an obelisk, any place that has an obelisk will have a drone police force. Swarm, Terra Swarm. In other words, not just one, not just two, but a whole swarm of drones, like wasps. Anyway, Stan continues, the two entities share the exact same Cerritos address. He's referring to the Ecology Mountain Center. Uh, there's a name for it, and Ecology Mountain site, as well as they have a transportation company in Cerritos. Now, Cerritos is next door to Long Beach, which is next door to San Pedro and Terminal Island. And this is where Lino LaBianca was trained to be a military policeman for the United States Army, was in Cerritos and San Pedro and Long Beach, and at the prison. Terminal Island Prison is where they teach military policemen how to do detention and inmate management for incarcerated soldiers. You know, Timothy Leary spent time there. Charlie Manson spent, I believe, 8 months in Terminal Island. He was there twice, once for automobile purloining an automobile from Cleveland, Ohio that was never proven to be stolen, borrowed, let's say. And he was there another time when he was being processed out. And this is where Tony Scott was thrown off the Vincent Thomas Bridge area. This is where Tiger Woods' father was introduced into Army intelligence and was sent to Thailand to meet his mother. And hence we have Tiger, and there's a golf course at the Cerritos. It's a joint forces air base for Air Force, Navy, and United States Army. They have an air base there, and they have a golf course. They also have a horse racing facility that Lino LaBianca would have been familiar with, and would have had one of his 11 racehorses, or some of his 11 racehorses, which were stabled at Santa Anita. Santa Anita is over by Pasadena. Some of those racehorses could have been trailered and raced at the Cerritos racetrack. So anyway, what I'm trying to tell you is that it should not be a surprise that a California limited liability company, LLC, owns a transportation company headquartered in Cerritos, which is code for Long Beach, the containerization port. It's also the Port of Los Angeles. So we have the Port of Los Angeles, Port of Long Beach, and Cerritos. They're all together. This is where Hughes Space and Communications is headquartered. It's where this is where TRW has offices, Union Carbide, General Dynamics, Northrop. They all have facilities in and around Cerritos. It's a military complex hub. So what a surprise that they have a limited liability company that paid $22 million for 10,000 acres of abandoned property of Kaiser Steel, Kaiser Aluminum, which mined the hell out of that organization, that Joshua Tree National Park. Google it. I double dare you. You won't believe the destruction and mining that went on in and around Joshua Tree National Park. I had no idea. I rode my bicycle past this place 2 times. It's at the Desert Center, which is at the corner of Interstate Highway 10, which also known as the Santa Monica Freeway, but 5 hours to the east in the desert, in the high desert. It's around 3,600 feet above sea level is where the Desert Center is, and it's at the corner of California Route 177 and Interstate Highway 10, and on the north west corner of that intersection is what's referred to as the Desert Center. Now, on both sides of Route 177, you'll find a massive solar farm, solar farming panels, which I've seen, but I didn't really study it too closely. But it goes on for a couple miles before I cleared it on my bicycle. So then, set back about 2 miles from the solar panels, you wouldn't believe it, they built a man-made lake and a golf course. If you like brown grass, because again, there's not a blade of grass that can survive anywhere in and around Joshua Tree National Park. Grass doesn't do well in this environment. It's a very hostile weather environment. It gets uber hot in the summer, really hot during the days, and then it's really freezing cold at night. It can get down below freezing. And let me just tell you some of the silly names out there. The streets, which are constructed during the Henry Kaiser decades of mining that went on out there. Kaiser Road is the main road, also known as Military Road R2, R-2 is Kaiser Road. That's the road that'll take you from Highway Route 177, which is a baseball throw away from Highway 10. It's real close. Anyway, that takes you northwest, and you go past this idiotic golf course. It's called the Tamarisk Golf Course. And to get into the golf course, you turn right and you go down Tamarisk Drive and find the parking lot. They actually have some residential homes in there, as if anyone would ever want to live there. I would not recommend that home site. The solar panel companies that operate in close proximity to this golf country club are Bright Futures and Oberon Solar and Storage Facility. Oberon spelled O-B-E-R-O-N, Solar and Storage Facility. All right, if you continue north on Kaiser Road, you will come to their ghost town where nobody lives, and there's 400 residential homes there. Some are 4-bedroom. This is providing the policing simulation to test out the drones. Now, if you go past the town and a little bit to the west, you'll come up against what appears to be railroad trestle track. The tracks have been removed, but I think at one time there was a railroad trestle, probably to take the iron ore that had been mined out of these hills. This is approximately 5 miles to the north west of Highway 177 and 5 miles from Highway 10, Interstate Highway 10. It's 5 miles set back into a steep mountainside. Now, they've made a huge quarry mess of all the mining, and the mine tailings are like 2,000 feet tall. They created an extra mountain where none existed from just burrowing the dirt out of the Joshua Tree National Park, which is essentially what that property was. Anyway, it's 10,000 acres of land that has been more or less devastated by mining over a 60, 70-year period. The mining period was like 1920 until 1983, something like that. So it gives you somebody that's like 63 years of destroying the soil out there. And today, of course, every day for the last 10 years, they've been dumping aluminum chalk all over that place. That chemtrail dumping and toxic waste from the skies has been going on for over 10 years in Riverside County, which is where this parcel of land is. Let me get back to Stan. The LLC, which is this ecology mountain facility, also owns a transportation company. That could be railroad tracks, truck chassis, marine cargo containers, intermodal transportation equipment, and that's what I'm going to say. The families that are registered as the owners of the ecology companies are called the Cyronian and Pratty family, kind of a hybrid family. Cyronian, spelled Siroonian, and Pratty is spelled Pratty. And they deal allegedly in waste recycling. They were the ones that pitched using the Kaiser mines, I think, for water, hydropower, and recycling energy. That has never transpired. What they have done instead is to install at least $1 million worth of Starlink equipment and Matrix space and military contract equipment, including 5G towers and antennas. And they've also put in a $200,000 utility truck with a hydraulic elevator ladder and heavy-duty trailer equipment for digging trenches and putting PVC pipes underground. So they have in the neighborhood of $1 million of equipment minimum on this property now. Now it's not terribly secure. There are fences, but the fences have holes in them. It's very dilapidated. I think that's intentional to make it look abandoned. But you should know, people, that if you went in there to try to, steal any of this equipment or to pirate the utility truck, which is brand new, you won't get far. It's 5 miles from the highway, any highway, 177 or 10, and there's cameras everywhere on both of those highways. So whilst there isn't a policeman for 30 miles, and more likely 60 to 70 miles away is the town of 29 Palms, you're not going anywhere. I mean, they just get a radio and set up a roadblock wherever you're heading. It's going to take you hours to get anywhere out of there. So if you're driving that utility truck out of there, you'll be busted for sure. Nothing you take from that property, you're going to get busted. There's really only 2 to 3 different ways to get out of that intersection. I guess technically there are 3 directions that you could flee. You could go east or west on Highway 10, or you could only go north on Highway 177. There is no southern option. This is an area that has historically, for over 100 years, been associated with the military. So Dwight Eisenhower has been to this location where he was going on a transcontinental journey with the Army men from Georgia all the way to the Santa Monica Pier. And he went through this desert center. What is today called the Desert Center is the intersection of Highway 10 and Route 177. Then General George Patton taught his men tank maneuvers at the Desert Center also. Desert Center is pretty much abandoned. I mean, I've been there twice. I saw no signs of life whatsoever. I believe it has a post office, and I believe the post office may be open. If you can believe that, I have a hard time believing that it has postal service because I don't think anyone really lives there. Anyway, the roads out there in the corporate town of Henry Kaiser are in the shadow of Eagle Mountain. Below Eagle Mountain is Court Street, and that's where the California State Prison Detention Facility put in barbed wire fences and perimeter fences, 3 deep. They have 3 layers of security, and they put 450 California state prisoners in there, low risk allegedly, and that didn't last long. They were there about 16 years, and then they had a riot, and 2 of the prisoners were killed with kitchen knives, and then 9 were injured, and then it was decided to close the prison since the guards couldn't control it, and the prison is on Court Street, which apparently has no law and order. Then we have Ironwood Drive. Ragsdale Road parallels Highway 10, and Ragsdale Road will take you to Highway 177 and Kaiser Road. And Palm Drive, Sage Drive, Bold Eagle Lane. And you should know that this facility, this ghost town, which is completely devoid of humanity, no one lives in this Kaiserville, known as Eagle Mountain town. It was first used for mining, for iron ore, and then they used it for a jail for about 16 years until they had a jail riot. And today, as of today, 2026, they're using it to fly drones. And the drones are then engaging in militarized police, MP, military police activities, using the houses as simulations to deal with intruders, burglars, robbers, rioters, resistors, the kind of thing you might expect in a Trump's Freedom City. And what do you think those drones can do? Do you think they're equipped with direct energy weapons? Do you think that they have ultrasonic capabilities of sensing? Yes, they do. They absolutely do. If you don't believe me, Google Matrix Space, Google Starlink, All the drones are equipped with temperature, ambionic sound, light sensing, magnetic resonance, and will pick up body area networks of living creatures, a dog, a cat. A vaccinated human being obviously comes up on the screen brightly. An unvaccinated person comes up on the screen as well. So you have unverified and verified IDs. Um, if you brought in crisis actors to do like a domestic terrorist simulation, right? So they can do that, and then that's why they don't tear down the homes. Is that they're going to continue to use the homes like a Hollywood set to train the keyboard commandos. The keyboard commandos are the people who run the drones remotely from all over the world. You could have NATO soldiers from Taiwan or NATO soldiers from Philippines or from Honolulu, Hawaii, logging in to the Joshua Tree National Park Eagle Mountain facility with the Ecology Center, and they could be trained. It takes a minimum of 90 days to be trained. There are 4 phases of drone training, and it's a minimum of 3 months, and then you can be certified as a drone keyboard commando. Okay? As for future plans of this 10,000-acre Eagle Mountain facility, formerly known as Kaiser Steel Iron Mining Town, today a ghost town, which basically is a part of the Joshua Tree National Park in Riverside County. The public record is very silent. The County of Riverside Board of Supervisors are not asking any questions. And you can't trust any county board of supervisors. They're 100% working for NATO. And this is a NATO operation. The chemtrail attacks, dumping aluminum chalk all over your county, like Riverside County, like Sonoma County, like Napa County, like San Francisco County, like Alameda County, like Santa Clara County, like Los Angeles County, like Ventura County, like Santa Barbara County, like they do every 10 minutes, 16 hours a day throughout the world. None of the city council members are talking about anything except climate action, electrical cars, electric recharging stations, smart cities, LED lights, smart meter rollouts. In other words, every city in the world, from Kenya to Rwanda to Somalia to Italy to France to Germany to the United Kingdom to Canada to Argentina to Brazil to Chile to San Salvador, they're all talking about installing smart meters and putting people on energy quotas till eventually we'll be eating bugs, right? That you'll own nothing and be miserable. Own nothing and be happy. All right. Anyway, what you should know is that it's a training facility, and there are numerous vendors involved in drone training. It's often referred to as first responding, which is DFR. DFR is a military acronym, stands for Drone First Response. That's neighborhood policing. That's going to become part of your neighborhood watch program, is the drones. I believe it already is part of it in most urban areas. And the DFR program will involve numerous vendors, and they'll be able to deal with rooftop and potentially armed suspects. They will identify people using their real ID. If they don't have a real ID, then they'll be identified as a non-verified intruder alert. They will use cover stories like, oh, we're just doing this in case of lost hikers, or we're just doing this to cure cancer. It's part of your precision medicine program that you didn't sign up for, right? Or that we want you to live forever, when they're actually trying to kill you. It will do license plate reading from the air, license plate reading from the drones. Training occurs remotely via agency workstations throughout the world using FAA Part 107, Beyond Visual Line of Sight. That's a military acronym, BVLOS, and there is a waiver that everybody signs so that they can remotely be trained anywhere in the world as a certified keyboard commando. The remote desert station, which is surrounded by 3 sides by the Joshua Tree National Park, it offers very secure, low-risk airspace There's no car traffic. There's only invited guests. It has very harsh real world conditions for testing. It has extreme heat in the summer. It has extreme cold in the summer too. At night, when the sun goes down, it gets real cold out there. And it could be 115 degrees in the day, and it could be 32 degrees at night in July. It has minimal rainfall. It does rain out there, but not much. And of course, with all the aluminum chalk in the sky, they can induce rainfall on command. Uses Starlink and weather technology systems and connectivity. They also have Flying Lion partners with groups like Drone Responders, NIST, DJI, Skydio, Nokia, and Bell Laboratories, and other military contractors. Has literally tens of thousands of drone first responder operators. Expansion of the facility will include commercial UAS training and services for advanced tech testing, avionics detection and avoid, larger range ops. Flying Lion operates and manages the training site and is associated with drone infrastructures, while Ecology Mountain Holdings, that's the name of the LLC that paid the $22 million for the 10,000 acres. Ecology Mountain Holdings will remain the underlying property owner, but you see all the vendors who make the drones and make the software and make the sensor systems, and then subcontract with DARPA and the United States Navy, the United States Army, the NATO forces of the world, and your sheriff's department, because you know this will go to drones will be used for policing and sheriff services. The sheriff deputy is going the way of the dodo bird. In summary, the mysterious buyer tied to the Cerritos-based Ecology Mountain Holdings and Ecology Truck and Recycling Companies has transformed this Henry Kaiser ghost town, this mining town, has now been transferred into a highly specialized, high-tech, public safety, public enemy, civilian domestic terrorism training facility, and the lead dog on that is called Flying Lion, FLI Town Program, coming to a town near you. So thank you, Stan, for that very excellent investigation that you did. Now let me take it from there. People are familiar with the large birds in the sky, formerly the Predator. We started with the Predator drone B-0001, the B, also known as Predator B. They have a 66-foot wingspan. They have a 900 horsepower turboprop engine measured at the shaft, 900 horsepower, so that's pretty high performance. These Predator drones can also be equipped with AGM 11-4 Hellcat Hellfire missiles. AGM stands for air to ground missiles, so that the drone can shoot the AGM 114 Hellfire missile, which is armor piercing, can go through a tank. They also can fire any other type of weapon, but they can blow tanks up from the sky. The tank driver would never know it was there till they're dead. Uses KU satellite and C-band systems to operate. The drone, this Predator drone, has a range of 1,200 miles. Can you believe that? So you essentially could fly from Moffett Air Base at Stanford University, and you could fly to Denver, Colorado, no problem with one of these Reaper drones. They've set a record that it's gone up for 48 hours consecutively without having to recharge or refuel the engine. So it has gliding capabilities. And like I said, it has a 1,200 mile range, which is very impressive. All right, and it only takes operators of this Reaper drone. Reaper means harvesting your soul. Only takes them 90 days and 4 phases of training to become a keyboard commando to operate a plane that's basically a military tank in the sky. They have all types of military acronyms associated with operating remote controlled vehicles. I believe, that all the planes over my head are remote controlled. I really do. I've been proving that by flipping them off with the international signal, and they don't react to me. So I'm thinking they're AI driven. Helicopters and jets and turboprop planes. I have a plane every 10 minutes in my town. That's 6 airplanes per hour for 16 hours per day. I assume the only reason that they shut her down for 8 hours is because they got to do maintenance on the helicopters and the planes and the jets. But I have continuous rainfall of aluminum and polymers and lithium and arsenic poison over my head every 10 minutes, and I have had that for over 39 months consecutively at a 100 overflights a day pace. So that's 115,000 attacks by NATO over North San Francisco Bay. And you could say the same for San Francisco and South Bay and East Bay. They are all getting the same dose that I am. All right, so target assessment, trace and tracking. They have HMI, which stands for Human Machine Interface. I call it Computer to Brain Interface. They have MTS, which stands for Multiple Spectral Targeting System, MTS. Let me say it again, Multispectral Targeting System, MTS. They have other systems called MQ9 or UAV, Unmanned Aerial Vehicle. They use the Hellfire missiles when they also use direct energy weaponry like laser light, photonic weapons, beam bending, pause, phased array pulsing. They can do beam steering, beam bending with the drones. And you should know that this is the granddaddy drone, the Reaper drone with the 66-foot wingspan. But they have mosquito-sized, little insect, little wasp-sized drones too. And they'll put 10,000 of them together to create a Terra swarm, the Terra swarm attack with the micro mini drones. Yes. And don't forget, we have all your polluted air, those are drones too. Those are all sensors, wireless sensor networks in the sky. They're called mesogens. They're called MIMS and MIMOs. MIMS means micro electronic magnetic systems. They're very, very tiny, 1/1000th of a micron, or 1/1000th of a centimeter, I should say. All right. What I wanted to tell you is that they can apply this technology not only to the drone, but to submarines, right? Aircraft carriers, supply ships, railroad trains, driverless trains, taxi cabs. In San Francisco, they have driverless taxi cabs. You can have driverless tanks on the ground. You can have robots. You can have dog robots, human robots, right? It's the attack of the bots. And the military has a term for when you condense so many drones together. They call it slaughter bots. Slaughter bots. They can send slaughter bots in to slaughter every single moving target. Now, the contractors want you, the listener of my show, to know that they have ethical standards. And one of the ethical concerns that they have is the idea when they're going around trying to get the bad guys, they want to delineate the criminals from the civilians as if the civilians weren't being targeted. Well, we have a real ID program. That's called zero trust. Zero trust. Zero trust means the military and Swiss banking considers all civilians to be enemy combatants, 100%. Because if they didn't have that policy, then you wouldn't need a real ID. But they want to tag every single farm animal on their farm because they always are worried that the farm animal may try to make a jailbreak and get off the reservation. Dive into the river and swim into the bay. So the ethical concern is that they want to delineate and verify the bad person, in other words, the non-compliant, from the compliant. And that's why they want to promote, eyeball recognition, facial recognition, biometrics. That's why they want to maintain a dossier for every person on the planet. That's why they want everyone to be verified and have a real ID and have mandatory vaccines and have a social score and a good citizenship QR code, quick response code, because we're going to have a proliferation of drones, robots, and weapons of mass destruction, which is what they are, and they're going to actually swarm in groups like locusts, swarms, and it's called Terra swarm because they're going to do it everywhere. They've already polluted our soil and our water and our breathable airspace. Now they're going to bring out Reaper drones, Predator and Reaper drones, in swarms to blow our brains out based upon autonomous decision making in the field. They're going to have autonomous ethical standards where they verify that if you have a low QR code and you have a poor social score, that they can go ahead and murder you. In other words, without having to check with one of the keyboard commandos, the drone can exercise its discretion and terminate the target with extreme prejudice. You see, that's the ethical standards we're talking about here. It comes back to real ID. In this area of California, which is a massively huge area, it's the size of most countries. From Santa Barbara, we have Vandenberg Air Force Base, which has been renamed Space Force. We have Vandenberg Space Force Base, and that's on the Pacific Ocean. And then you can go all the way to this drone facility at Eagle Mountain, which is every bit of a 6-hour drive to the east into the desert. The towns you'll come across are, where Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, Judy Garland, she came from Lancaster, and Palmdale, and this is where all the military companies are. TRW, General Dynamics, Lockheed, Northrop, they're all there in Palmdale, and they're at Edwards Air Force Base in Lancaster. And we have Ridgecrest, that's United States Navy China Lake, that's used by the Air Force and the Navy to drop bombs. This is a 1.1 million acre area for bomb research. Then we have Death Valley, that's 3.6 million acres that they're using for bomb research too. I don't think they drop as many bombs there, but they do have facilities out in Death Valley and Furnace Creek. They have a place called Fort Irwin, Ridgecrest, Mojave, the town of California City, which is also a ghost town, Barstow, Baker, Apple Valley, Victorville, right? Lucerne Valley, Tehachapi, the Tehachapi Pass, that's closer to Edwards Air Force Base. 29 Palms, they have 10,000 Marines at a command and combat training center there, along with Turtle Rock Casino. They have a place called Indian Springs, which is next to the town of Mercury, which is closed to the public. Mercury is closed to the public. The public cannot visit the town of Mercury, which is part of Site 51, right? We have High Vista, Howe's Place, Hinckley. You might have heard of Hinckley. Remember Aaron Brockovich and Hinckley? That's out there. That's out there near, that's not far from the town of Mercury, and Indian Springs is the town of Hinckley. So we have Yermo and Irwin Estates. That's next door to Victorville. And it's all high desert, meaning it's about 3,500 to 4,600 feet of elevation. And it gets really hot in a furnace during the daytime, and it gets really cold at night in the summertime. Actually the best time of year out there would be November or February. Those are the two best months where the temperatures don't vary too much between night and day. But the other times of the year, it's a pretty dynamic temperature change. Anyway, everything to do with my channel, if you haven't noticed, is to ferret out military crimes. And we have that going on in spades now at every university, and specifically at UC Berkeley, and specifically at UCLA and Harvard and Massachusetts Institute of Technology, but all the other universities too, including community colleges, because all the curriculum has been now twisted into the AI. And the AI is about autonomous decision making and the disenfranchising of humans. And I do consider that an ethical felony crime. And every university is participating in the AI and is participating in the extinction of humanity. That's what that is. It's a human democide. It's bigger than a genocide. It's a democide. First, they want to destroy your mind, where you're not concerned about all the airplane traffic and all the pollution, and you're talking about Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels and Jeffrey Epstein and Hillary and Bill Clinton, when those people are clowns at the circus, and you should be focusing more on who finances Houdini's magic carpet ride, which is going to be Swiss Bank Authority. That's who the enemy is. Banking, Swiss banking in particular. That's the enemy. All right, I hope I made my point today. That's my video. Again, thank you to Stan for doing the excellent sleuthing. We have a problem, people. They can set up a drone training facility in a town, in your town. So look around for abandoned factories. Check out Detroit, Michigan. That would be a good place to have a drone facility, right? But they can have them anywhere, and then you can train keyboard commandos throughout the world using your abandoned town as a test facility for urban warfare. And of course, urban warfare is code for killing innocent civilians. Killing of innocent civilians, which they can do using direct energy weapons, LED streetlights, drones over your home. It appears they're going full speed ahead to get as many drones in the air as possible. All drones should be considered Predator or Reaper drones, no matter what the size, whether they're nano, whether they're micro, whether they're 16 inches long, or whether they are 66 feet wide wingspan. They are all Predator Reaper drones. Take care. Do like and subscribe my videos because I'm shadow banned. Also, if you're having problems with hearing the audio, just hit the audio only icon to the left of your screen and turn off the video. And do read my show notes and look at the photographs below. They are instructive and educational. Take care. Bye-bye now.